Everybody, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to talk to you about something today that I saw in the media. I was doing research on a friend of mine, Lamar Tyler, along with his wife Ronnie, founded blackandmarriedwithkids.com, which is this amazing platform that promotes black marriage and family. And I love their company, love their business. In fact, they would be on. I would almost put them as candidates of the black business of the decade because what they've done has been so amazing, so extraordinary despite the odds. I'm actually bringing Lamar in as a guest to the Black Wealth Boot Camp this week because their story is so compelling in the sense that number one, they were told that they shouldn't try to sell black marriage and family to black people because black people don't want to support positive stuff. They were told that their topic was too niche, which it is. Well, it is. I mean, on the surface, it can appear to be, but it's black and married with kids, right? So you're black, you're married, and you have children. That seems like such a tight niche that it would be hard to turn that into a profitable business model. The third part that was interesting was that they were told that being too focused on the African American community would be bad for business. People said, "Oh, you should just start a marriage website or a marriage and family website, but don't make it too black." And as a result, there were some black people and some white people who didn't want to work with them because people are scared of blackness. People are afraid of it. They think that commitment to blackness will lead to failure, that you are playing for the losing team. And I think that this is not only incorrect, but it shows weakness and short sightedness. Weakness in the sense that, if you're strong enough to play for the losing team, then you have the confidence to know that by playing for that quote unquote losing team, you will eventually become part of the winning team because you will bring a winning attitude. The reason it's short sighted is because history runs in cycles, sometimes 100, 200 year cycles. So maybe right now we're not where we want to be. But if you really see history for what it is, you realize history is thousands and thousands of years. By planting seeds today and doing certain things today, we can create a scenario where our children are on the winning team, say 100 years from now, 200 years from now. So don't give up on black people. Stop letting people make you think that today and now is all that there is. I'll give you an example. You go back 500 years, Europe was in total chaos. The Europeans were, as a collective, I mean, they were in a situation, they almost looked like a pack of thugs. Their civilizations were destroyed. The plague had wiped out a third of Western Europe. It was a mess, a complete mess. There's no way somebody at that time could have looked forward and seen the power that white Americans have today or the white people have around the world. So don't give up on blackness. That's very important. But anyway, I was oh, and here's the other cool thing about Lamar Ronnie Tyler's business, blackandmarriedwithkids.com. They're able to make a lot of money promoting black marriage and family despite being ostracized by certain companies that wouldn't work with them. They're doing extremely well. They really show the power of the internet for as it pertains to the ability to liberate black people economically, socially, psychologically, spiritually, and otherwise. Don't sleep on the web, and don't just think of the internet as a place where you go just to chill out and hang out and have fun and socialize. No, the internet is a highway of commerce. It is changing the paradigm, the model within which we can operate and make our living. If you are trying to live a 1995 life in the year 2015, you're going to be left behind. Technology is where it's at, knowledge and information is where it's at. The reason Lamar Tyler and Ronnie do so well is because they've invested thousands of dollars in learning the latest internet technology, how to sell on the internet, how to create products on the internet. I've had extensive conversations with him, and they've been very, very informative. We trade notes, we talk back and forth about how the web gets used and stuff like that. So people sleep on that, but you can't do that. So anyway, I'm bringing Lamar to my Black Wealth Boot Camp. He's one of our consistent guests in the class. So if you ever think about joining the Black Wealth Boot Camp, you can go to the blackwealthbootcamp.com. I will say that I've worked very, very hard to make it more than worth the money. I had a college student who said that it costs, they said, well, the price is kind of pricey. And I said, well, that's the lowest price I can offer. I mean, that's a discount price. I mean, I said, look, you just spent $80,000 going to college for 4 years, learning from people with my same credentials who taught you a bunch of theories that have put you in a situation where you don't even have a job. We teach you real stuff from real people who run real businesses, who have real credentials, who can show you how to have your own company. Um, I think that that's if you, I mean, people spend $200, $300 on Jordans and all that stuff. I don't get it. But anyway, enough of that. I'm not pitching the boot camp. You can do it if you want to, but it's a totally up to you. But here's the thing that really got me today. So I was doing my research on Lamar's business, and I look up and I see this article. This article by or not an article, it's a book written called "Is Marriage for White People" or something like that, written by Professor Ralph Banks, who's a law professor at Stanford. So he's teaching at Stanford, which means he must be very, very smart, right? So, or at least he's gotten approval from the powers that be. And so, anyway, Professor Banks seems to be arguing that black women need to give up the good fight and stop trying to marry black men. That there are just too few marryable black men. That the prospects for black women are just so bad, so horrendous, etc. That black women should just look outside their race. And I was so glad to see Lamar and Ronnie Tyler on that on that segment to really diffuse that myth, to really first and foremost say that there are millions of black people who love their families. Lamar and Ronnie Tyler themselves, they have over 500,000 Facebook fans, so there are a lot of people who strongly believe in the black family. And then number two, this idea of perpetuating stereotypes and sort of allowing people to kind of toss all the blame for everything wrong in the world on the black man. That's just kind of been a consistent trend that we've had for a very long time. And what it does is it allows you to escape accountability for your own relationship outcomes. I've had guys say that. I've had guys say, I don't date black women because black women are trifling, they're evil, they're this, they're that. And I just kind of look at him and say, well, number one, what kind of black women are you picking? And then number two, what kind of man have you made yourself out to be? Are you a desirable man who will attract desirable women, women who have it all together, or are you simply trying to say that black women are responsible for all your relationship failures? That's not a good way to hold yourself accountable. Um, and the third thing we really got to talk about in terms of this clear imbalance, there clearly is an imbalance in terms of the numbers of marriable black women and marriable black men, is we got to talk about prisons. People have to understand why I fight so hard on prisons. I fight so hard on prisons because prisons have destroyed the family. The incarceration rate since Reagan and Nixon and all these other people declared these wars on drugs, and Clinton, the first black president that y'all just love so much, who literally incarcerated more black men than any president in American history. To hell with Bill Clinton. I don't give a damn about that man. I'll never support that man. It's hilarious to me that we can't see the connection. The thing you got to understand, go visit a prison if you get it. Well, you don't want to have, hopefully you'll never have to visit a prison. But if you visit a prison, go to prison and see how many strong black men there are in prison. How many black men who could have been great husbands and fathers are in prison. Now, some people will say things like, oh, well, if you didn't want to do the time, you shouldn't do the crime. Well, yeah, okay. If every black person in America was perfect, then that would solve the problem. It might solve the problem, even though blackness tends to be criminalized. Here's what's fundamentally true. If a black man, statistically true, if a black man and a white man commit the same crime, the black man is more likely to be searched, stopped, and frisked. He's more likely to be arrested. He's more likely to be incarcerated, and he will get a longer sentence than the white man. All those dynamics come into play. So the little white kid goes off to Yale or whatever University of Tennessee, and he uses some drugs. He gets into some cocaine or whatever while he's in college, or gets drunk and flips over a car because the basketball team won the game. You know what? boys will be boys. He's just being a young guy, just out here having fun. Black man gets in trouble for the same thing. He gets caught possessing a gram of crack or whatever. He's going to get 30, 40, 50 years in prison. They will throw his life away. So you have many, many black men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who made mistakes when they were teenagers, when they were young, just like a lot of young people make mistakes, who were forced to pay a lifetime penalty, who were given a death sentence. Given a death sentence for what they did. To me, a death sentence is when somebody strips away so much of your life that there's really nothing left. When you take away life, all there is death. So if you take away a young person's life, then you have sentenced him to death. Because of prison sentences, we know how horrible prisons are. We know people get raped in prison, people get beaten in prison, people get traumatized in prison, people get marginalized after they get out of prison. So their ability to really create a healthy life, the kind of life that leads to marriage and family, is almost virtually annihilated. It's obliterated. The goal of the system is to make the black man a non-entity. And what I really see here is, and this is why, I get in trouble all the time. I don't want to say trouble, but I get in a lot of I've made a lot of enemies, by talking the way I talk and being very direct about things the way I am. But I can't. I have to do this because it's the truth. It's what I have to do. I have no other choice. But seriously, I mean, if you really look at what the white man as a collective, what white America is basically doing, they're doing something similar to what animals might do in the woods. If a bear sees that there's a female bear and he wants that female bear and she's with a man, what does he do? He'll kill the man, and then he'll take his place. So to some extent, that's kind of what white America has done to the black man. We're gonna kill off this man. We're gonna kill these niggas, and we're gonna take the women. And we're gonna let the women make the women believe that the only choice she has is to be our concubine, just like during slavery, just like on the TV show Scandal. She could be our side chick. We're not gonna marry her really and elevate her all the time. I mean, every now and then, some of the white guys will. They'll get married and they'll love their black women. And really, truth be told, I don't get angry if I see a black person with a white person. I mean, love can be wherever it's gonna be, right? I have young ladies. I have a young lady I mentor that I care about deeply, who has been in a long term relationship with a white guy, and I think he's a great guy, and I would never ever want to interfere with something like that, something as beautiful as that kind of love. But in too many situations, we have people that will focus solely on another race because they've given up on their own race. And I just think that that truly is another form of genocide. That's what it is. That's what it is. When you kill off the family, you're killing off the reproductive process. You kill off the reproductive process, and that's a form. That's genocide. That's death. So, with that being said, I want to say to Mr. Ralph Banks, I'm glad the white people at Stanford decided to make you a law professor. That must make you very proud. It doesn't mean a whole lot to me, to be honest with you. Probably means he's pretty smart. It doesn't mean he's stupid. But remember that you know how I feel about the validation from white folks. It comes with a price sometimes, and sometimes the price is writing books like this that support white supremacy. White supremacy is fundamentally implied, in this sort of topic when you're sort of concluding that there is something just inferior with black people and black men to the point where black women must abandon black men, and you have no effort, no desire, you take no time whatsoever to point the fingers at the white folks who put all of them in prison, who've destroyed these families. You can't talk about the decimation of the black family without talking about the white man's role in that process. If you refuse to talk about the white man's role in that process, that means you're scared of the white man. And to some extent, a lot of us are scared for good reason, because there's a lot. White people have a lot of power. White supremacy is overwhelming. It's very confusing. It's debilitating. And you stand up against it, you get crushed. If I were still working for white people, I'd probably be a little hesitant to say any of the things I'm saying now. That's why I stopped working for them. That's why I wanted to be independent, because I wanted to be free. So that's it. That's me talking from the bottom of my heart, just being as honest with you as I can possibly be. Take it for what you will, but don't. I'll be damned if you're gonna go out here and talk about destroying the black family, or somehow write off black men like we're not relevant. You can go to hell with that crap. I mean, I'm not. I'm just. You have no place in the conversation with me. Now you can, if you want, talk about the issues and the concerns and the things that we have to work on and uplift the community, as Ronnie says in the interview, which I encourage you guys to look up. Um, but don't come in here talking about black people as if we're some sort of lost cause and that the only option is to just abandon ship and go run over to the white side of town. That's nonsense. All right, well, that's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I am gone. Peace.